Damon here with NLP Gym and with Doug OBrien. He's actually here now in Santa Cruz.
It's true.
And before we get into some really good, juicy,
important,
NLP
deep
techniques,
things, yes.
before we do that, if you haven't already, please subscribe to this YouTube channel by clicking this button here. And you'll get regular updates on these videos and good stuff. All right, NLP Techniques. You know a little bit about that, right?
Yes, I've been doing that for a while.
For a little while, like when you say a little while, like 6 months or so?
Yeah, well, going on 6, I think.
6
months or so. Or, let me see, 20, 35 years.
35 years?
No, not quite. Math isn't my strong suit. 30 years.
30 years?
30 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where did you do your practitioner?
Well, my first practitioner was with Tony Robbins in Arizona, near Phoenix, right in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Okay. And Tony Robbins thinks pretty well of you. I saw his endorsement of you.
Well, he's got excellent taste.
And Richard Banlin thinks pretty well of you, and Robert Dilts thinks pretty well of you.
They take checks, yes.
So,
I did my master practitioner right here in Santa Cruz with Robert Dilts and Todd Epstein.
and that's when you learned Sleight of Mouth.
It is.
And that changed your life forever.
It did actually change my life. It did.
Yeah.
Amazingly.
Carved out an amazing niche in the world of NLP.
Yeah, I didn't ever think that it would, but it did in fact do that. Yeah.
Very cool. Tell us a little bit about what we're going to learn tomorrow and Sunday.
Well, we're going to learn Sleight of Mouth, and what do you know about it? I mean, is there anything?
Well, I know a lot about it.
Yeah.
What may not know about it.
Where are they?
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one of the reasons why I wanted you to come.
Yeah.
I liked your style of learning how to learn. Whereas the way the way that a lot of NLP is presented, and the way that Sleight of Mouth was sort of presented to me was, okay, here it is, go learn it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. So I turned to your stuff, which was very, very helpful and sort of like jumping right in and putting it into practice right away.
Yeah.
So yes, you can read a book on Sleight of Mouth and here's the patterns, but you have a specific way of training this into people, especially people who don't have an NLP background. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's an interesting thing. I think a lot of NLP people, like a lot of people in general, when they become parents, as you're a parent, they parent the way their parents parented them. They just kind of do what was done with them. They kind of take it on, and they're not ever really trained in how to parent. Most parents are amateur parents. I think that's true with most trainers as well. They don't really train in how to train. They just train the way they were trained. I took a lot of time in courses in pedagogy and how to train something. I was a piano teacher to start with. My first profession was a professional musician, and of course, to earn money as a professional musician, people teach. So I taught, and of course, when I taught piano, the outcome was to have the kid learn to play the piano really well. It wasn't for me to show them. They had to walk away with the skill. So it was for me to, with a bunch of different kids, every time the kid came in was a different kind of situation. But to adapt things to each person so that they would, do the best they could with the resources they had. So I developed different methodologies of anchoring in to people the skill sets by having them do exercises. So when I first learned Sleight of Mouth from Wyatt Woodsmall, learning Sleight of Mouth, when I was presented with Sleight of Mouth, when I was shown Sleight of Mouth by Wyatt Woodsmall, it just was like, wow, one ear out the other. It was fascinating, it was funny, it was interesting, but didn't retain really any of it all. And so when I came to Santa Cruz and did it with Robert Dilts, he had a methodology for training it that caused it to stick. We took several days, at least 2 or 3 days to learn it. And we had different games that we played and learned it. And I found his chart, his icon chart for the different patterns to be absolutely critical for me to learn it, because they were spatial anchors. Each place had a space and a shape and a name that you could then put it. To me, it was like analogous to when I was a kid. My dad had a workbench covered, just knee deep with tools and stuff, and I could never find anything there. He could, but nobody else could. Whereas my neighbor across the street had one of those workbenches, with a pegboard behind it, and an outline of the hammer, and an outline of the screwdriver, and an outline of different things. And every time somebody came in, they could say, okay, that's where the hammer goes, that's where the saw goes, that's where the screwdriver goes. Everything was totally in its place. And that's what Sleight of Mouth is like. It's like you have these icons that go, that's the hierarchy of criteria, that's the consequence pattern. They're in their place. So when you do that and you practice it enough, it gets into your skin. So people walk away from these 2 days knowing how to do it. They know that they can do it and they can do it. So it's both of them.
Yeah.
So they know they can do it and they know that they can do it. So
you learned Sleight of Mouth in the good old days. When I was presented to it, Robert, who's amazing and is constantly developing technology, it was like a half a day. It's like, here's this piece of technology, and we only have a half a day because we have to get into all the other technology, that we're doing. So that's why I was like, okay, we need to eventually bring you here to do this. So we need to cut this a little bit shorter, this video. So I know we could get into this and really sink our teeth in and talk a lot about it. But let's just, is there one tip that you can give to people who are watching this, persuasion and influence, or just learning Sleight of Mouth? Like, what would you recommend?
Well, the most important thing is to listen to the person's belief as they've stated it. Often we sort of take for granted we understand what a person says because it resonates with us, or it's like something else we know. But to really understand a belief, you've got to unpack it first to find out what it is they're actually saying and how they believe it to be true. So once you can really listen, then you can really persuade. So
persuasion and influence might be counterintuitive, but listen to the person first. I think that's really good advice. And it's, in a sense, pacing.
It is, absolutely, yeah.
Great.
But we, by the way, spend a lot of time with that. It's the nice thing about having 2 days to do this. You could, like Robert does, put it into a couple hours. Really, it's the material itself is not that much. But to practice it and develop it as a skill set, you need to practice.
Yeah.
Like yoga.
Yeah.
Right?
You've seen my video.
It's pretty impressive.
Okay. All right, we're going to wrap this up. If you haven't already, please check out our website, nlp-gym.com. Follow us on YouTube. Actually, subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Facebook for all real-time updates. Who knows, we might, if this works out, we'll see. We might bring this guy back. And a few things about hypnosis too, I heard.
I've been pretty good at that too. That's been 7 months actually. I've been doing that one.
And then there's something called belief craft, right?
Belief craft, yeah.
Well, let's not talk about it.
Okay,
You're gonna have to look it up, belief craft. So
me and Jonathan Altfeld do that together. It's pretty awesome.
Okay, very cool. Signing off. Take care.